Hi, everyone. Jim Lorenzen here, and today we're going to be talking about something that has been on people's minds, well, for decades. Not only for the last 20 years in the 2000s, but back in the 1990s and 1980s, even in the 1970s. Have been saying things like, oh, it won't be there for me. It won't be there when I retire and blah, 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 blah. It's been going on forever, but it always is because politicians want to get reelected. Okay. We're going to talk about what is the future for Social Security? And believe me, it isn't going to take long. We'll probably do this in about 15, 20 minutes tops. But it's important to understand that all decisions are made based on a set of assumptions. And faulty assumptions almost always lead to bad decisions. And sometimes those decisions can be costly. They can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they can be irrevocable. So doing your homework and getting into the real world is very important for all of us to do. Okay, first of all, let's understand the value of Social Security. A lot of people don't understand its real value. How much would you have to have in your IRA or 401k to generate the equivalent of $2,000 a month in Social Security benefits? Now, even if you use a 4% withdrawal rate, which a lot of people tout as a standard, it's commonly accepted anyway. If you use that 4% rate, you would have to have $600,000 to replace that $2,000 Social Security check. But actually, you'd even have to have more. You know why? Number one, Social Security, not all of your Social Security is taxable. All of your 401k or IRA withdrawals are, but not all of your Social Security is. And number two, it's lifetime income. Your 401k or IRA could possibly be depleted, but not your Social Security. I know, we're getting back to, well, will it be there for me? Well, when they say they're worried about whether it'll be around, what they're really worried about is the solvency of the system. That's what it really comes down to. And every year, the Social Security trustees publish a comprehensive report showing the long-range outlook for Social Security. Now, it's important to understand Social Security was designed as a pay-as-you-go system. Payroll taxes from current workers go into a trust fund, and money in that trust fund is immediately paid out to current retirees. Now, it was set up that way back in the early 1930s for a reason. Life expectancy was 60 for men, 64 or so for women, and you didn't get benefits till you were 65. So a pay-as-you-go system was pretty easy to design. But there's something that people don't talk about. Because the baby boomers have been in their peak earning years, the last 10 or 15 years, the trust fund has actually been accumulating more than what's been needed to pay the benefits. Again, originally it was pay as you go. They didn't have to accumulate money. It was just money in, money out immediately. But now the trust fund, because of the baby boomers' earnings, has more than is needed for current benefits. Now, in last year, 2023, there was actually a net decrease in assets of $42 billion. But guess what? That did not include the interest received on the trust fund reserves. When you factored in that interest, the income exceeded costs by $11 billion last year. Now, right now, the trust fund holds about $2.8 trillion, and it's invested in special issue Treasury securities. Now, the trust funds will get gradually drawn down as baby boomers are retiring and beginning to retire now over the next 10, 15 years. Now, it's important to understand the politicians love to, I don't want to say they lie, I'll say they tell half-truths. And they do it because, again, they're in the re-election business. But you'll hear politicians say, well, the trust fund is nothing but a bunch of IOUs. Well, that's true, but they're not telling you the whole story. If you were managing a trust fund and you wanted that money to be safe and secure, you'd probably be investing in government bonds. You'd be investing in treasuries and things like that. That's what the trust fund does. The money is not sitting under, under somebody's bed at the Treasury Department. It's invested in treasuries. Treasuries are bonds. They are government IOUs. If you hold government bonds, if you have treasuries, or you have a government IOU, that's what you want. If you had a bank CD, you'd have a bank IOU. Well, the trust fund is invested in special issue treasuries, and therefore, yes, they're government IOUs, but they are a very prudent investment for the Social Security Trust to use. Now, I said they're special issue securities. That's because they're redeemed at par, which means there's no interest rate risk, unlike other bonds. Now, Presidents Carter, Reagan, Clinton, Bush, all have claimed to have saved Social Security. Well, again, and don't forget, you're going to see a lot of proposals this year because this is an election year. And as long as they know nothing will pass, they can talk. Over the next 75 years, costs are going to exceed income. That's a given. This is simply a math problem. That's all it is. There are currently enough reserves in the system to expect it to pay about 100% of promised benefits until 2034. You probably know that from just watching the news. That's 10 years from now. And if nothing happens, nothing at all happens to reform the system, starting in 2035 and beyond, there'll be enough income in the system to fund about 80% of the benefits. But of course, nobody wants to see their benefits cut 20%, and the politicians know that. Now, it's not an imminent danger, as we know, but reforms will be less painful if they start doing things now to help. There's one idea is to increase the maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax. Right now, only up to $168,800 is subject to the 6.2 tax paid by a worker and the employer. So one of the proposals, of course, is to raise that earnings cap up to 200, 250, things like that. If they raise it higher, it increases the revenue coming into the system. That's one of the proposals. Another calls for raising the normal retirement age as life expectancies are increasing. Current retirement age right now is 66 for people born between 1943 and 54, and it's 67 for people born in 1960 or later. So that's one of the things people are talking about. Unfortunately, it's a very tough problem to solve in debate on the floor of the House and the Senate because not everybody has the same career. Some people sit around burning their mouths like I do, and there's other people who actually do real work in coal mines and things like that, who have a lot of stress on their system, a lot of physical work, physical danger, shorter life expectancies, and because they're down in coal mines, they're not working in going to the gym and sitting behind desks. So that creates one of the problems in terms of solving the issue. Now, another one is to change the benefit formula so that future increases will happen at a slower pace. And that would affect the benefits that future retirees receive. And some are talking about changing the formula of the cost of living adjustments. That could give retirees a smaller benefit going forward, but those changes are expected to be minimal. Frankly, they're using core inflation. The core inflation rate is everything except food and energy. It's great for economists because food and energy are so volatile that if they use everything else and exclude food and energy, they get a core rate that truly shows what the cost of other things are. The problem for consumers, people like you and me, is food and energy are a big part of our consumption. We go to the grocery stores, we have to fill gas, and almost everything we buy is energy dependent. I don't care if you bought a calculator. If you buy a calculator, it had to get shipped on a truck or a railway car or something like that, and that's energy. So energy costs feed into everything we purchase. Now, one bill has been introduced into the House of Representatives that would increase the cap to $250,000, require these people above that to pay Social Security taxes on all of their earnings and eliminate the taxes for all the other people and stuff like that. At any rate, there's a lot of different reforms out there. If you'd like to read the reform proposals, you can go to the American Academy of Actuaries. American Academy of Actuaries. Their website is actuary.org. Actuary.org. And you can read all the different proposals that are on there because I know you have nothing to do other than that, and that would just make your day so much more interesting. Okay. Now, there are ways you can find out what your benefits are going to be. One is to go to your annual Social Security statement And many of you probably have them mailed, snail mail, but you can go online to socialsecurity.gov, my account. I hope you can read that on the top, under the top slide there. Socialsecurity.gov/my account. You set up an account, you'll answer security questions. 2, you can use the retirement estimator on your Social Security account. That calculator taps into your specific earnings history. And after you enter all your information, because they and you want it to be very secure, you don't want anybody else going in there. But I've done it, by the way. I've done it. It's worth doing. You should do it. You'll find the Social Security site is actually a very good site. There's a lot of good information on there. I think you'll find it very helpful. And so anyway, you can go into your estimator and do that. Now, one thing you need to know is your statement and your estimator do not factor in COLAs, cost of living adjustments. They don't factor in COLAs to your age 70 benefit. That means your actual benefit will probably be higher. Now, in the financial planning I do for my clients, we do COLA adjustments and we do the projections because that's just a normal part of creating a comprehensive financial plan. And I would think that most other fiduciary advisors, particularly those who are certified financial planners, are able to do the same thing for you. So you might try those 3 calculators. There's the website on the bottom little slot there, ssa.gov, planners, benefits calculators. That's it there. And you can mess around with those, but I highly recommend setting up an account. Remember, the Social Security personnel are very helpful, but they can't make recommendations. It's not their job to do planning because they don't know what's going on in the rest of your life. They don't know about your family. They don't know how the benefits might coordinate with your RMDs. Remember, the size of your RMDs that you get, your required minimum distributions from your IRAs, et cetera, and all that, they impact the taxation of your Social Security as well as the size of your Medicare premiums. So all of these things are interrelated, and that's why a comprehensive plan is very important in order to come up with, a good analysis. That's what a Social Security analysis looks like. But like I said, that's just one component of a good plan. It's too important for guesswork. If you don't have an advisor, you can learn more. I'm very happy to help. You can see down there, it's infin.com right in the middle of your screen. And if you are interested in becoming a client, go to the Getting Started tab. I should point out, I am not an attorney. I am not a CPA. However, I am a certified financial planner. I am an accredited investment fiduciary. I've been in practice since 1991. That's over 30 years, and retirement is all I do. So if you'd like help, I'd be glad to help you. I'd like to be available. Go to the Getting Started page on the website. In the meantime, I hope this has been helpful for you, and you can check out the other videos on our YouTube channel. Okay, thank you very much. Take care.